Today on the Big Six in 60, Michigan State wins at Purdue for the first time in more than a decade.
What a win for our Michigan State Spartans.
The Suns hit a game winner against the Lakers.
This is a big win for the Suns. This is a Lakers team who the Suns now hold the tiebreaker against.
And the Jets trade for T'Vondre Sweat.
He is a freak of nature from a physical stature standpoint.
This is the Big Six in 60, the 6 biggest national sports stories from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 60 minutes. The Big Six in 60 starts now. Thank you for making the Big Six in 60 your first listen of the day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Michigan State won at Purdue last night for a top 10 victory and the first win for the Spartans in Mackey Arena since 2014. After the win, Matt Sheehan has the recap on Locked On Spartans.
What a win for our Michigan State Spartans. Carter Elliott winning 76-74 at the House of Absolute Horrors, Mackey Arena. And Carter, going into this game, I just wanted to see 4 things. I don't ask for much in life for my basketball team, but 4 things we wanted to see. We wanted to see a more dialed-in half-court offense. We wanted to see how the big men were going to do against a borderline elite front court that Purdue has. You got 15 points from Carson Cooper, 40 points total inside the paint. We also wanted to see bench production. This was one of my top keys of the game. You got 21 points from Kurtang and Cam Ward combined, 13 from Kurtang, 8 from Cam Ward. And fourth of all, Carter, they have not done that well on the road. Their road wins against Oregon were without Biddle or Shellstad. Their win at Washington was in front of basically a Michigan State home crowd. This is the pressure cooker on the doorstep of March Madness. I wanted to see this team perform well in a very uncomfortable environment. Carter. We 4 for 4. Saw it all. I believe again. Great to see you as always, my man.
It's always great to see you. And there's a lot to talk about with this basketball game. I'm truly excited to talk about it with you. But I have to say this first and foremost, man.
Let's go.
The demons were exercised. We brought the demons to Mackey and we stared them in the eyes and they got us the last 12 times and we buckled. I'll be honest with you. We had nothing for it. Nothing for it. My coach had an omelet this morning with Gene Katie.
Yep.
And he said, I got Gene. Can you release me from these demons? And he said, I'll try, Tom. And he went out there and he did it. Like the great person said, who I can't think of right now, if you are not a dog, you are dog food. Now,
preach. Yes.
Now I can take the victory shades off and get this a little bit in line here because when you look at the box score from this game, Sheehan, like if we did the classic, let me see. If I told you that Purdue shot 50% from 3,
yes.
If I told you Purdue had 23 assists to 9 turnovers and Purdue won the rebounding battle, I would have came on here and be like, okay, let's guess how much Purdue won by. Was it by 27?
Right.
Was it by 27 or was it by 14? But you know, Michigan State just battled in this basketball game, man. And it was everybody. It was Fears. It was Carson Cooper. It was young guys stepping up. Kurtang, my brother, have a day. Cam Ward, I haven't seen you in 3 months. Have a day. And these young guys in Mackey Arena, one of the hardest places to play in the country, one of the hardest places to play in the Big Ten that we have not won in 12 years, grew up in front of our eyes. They wanted the challenge. They accepted the challenge. It was a battle. They got down early. It went back and forth. And you know what? They did enough to win this basketball game. And, man, it feels good.
Who on earth gets MVP honors for this one? I guess the easy answer could be Carson Cooper, 15 points. And that's obviously no easy assignment with any two of TKR, Oscar Cluffer. If you want to introduce the third guy, Jacobson, who stands at a blistering 9'1", it appears. That's an easy Northern Light to point to here for our MVP, but man, everywhere else, boy, do they get it done. Jeremy Fears, 12.6 assists is not going to pop out at you, but again, very tough assignment for him. Cohen Carr charges ho-hum 11 points, but it goes back to what we repeat time and time again on this show. When he has a dunk, the scoreboard says 2 points. It feels like at least 6 points at times. That windmill dunk felt like a 10-pointer was thrown at the bench for that one. Or if you even want to go Kurtang, I actually might go Kurtang here.
I think I might go Kurtang too because before that windmill dunk from Carr, it was Kurtang I never thought I would say this. Kurt Tang made a defensive play. Kurt Tang got in the pass and kind of made like a little instinctual. He saw Clough had his back turned, maybe it was Clough, made the steal, then got on the floor and then got the Kon card for the windmill. Also, great execution by him in the background of the photo, jumping mid windmill. You can't teach that. Not everyone has that. But he was really special in this basketball game, especially too, given his start, because he had some really kind of egregious, I would say, breakdowns on kind of under the rim out of bounds plays that got a couple easy baskets for Purdue. Yeah. But I mean, he was massive in this game. He hit big threes. He had some takes to the basket as well. I thought that he was really integral in this game. So, I could give it to Coop. Coop was great. The spin dunk, my brother, woo. But Kurt Tang really stepped up in this basketball game.
Man, I can't believe how well Carson Cooper has played like the last two games. I guess sounds silly because he came out of the season really well, and all we did was just laud him for his development that he's had over the few years. But kind of hit a lull, not a complete bust out there on the court, but tuning up Ohio State, you expect that in a sense, maybe not to the degree that he did it in, but you thought that Michigan State's front court was maybe going to perform well against Ohio State's lack thereof of front court, but. When I said that I just wanted to see how he looked against Purdue's front court, I would have taken 8 points. I would have taken 6 rebounds. Now, that is where he netted out 6 rebounds, but man, 15 points and just doing it all which way, yamming on people, taking people off the dribble. He gave TKR some of his own game quite often. It almost brought tears to my eyes. I actually might get emotional on this episode, Carter. Like, this is incredible what we've seen from this kid.
It was truly fun to see. I mean, obviously Carson Cooper's development at Michigan State. I was the leader of the bandwagon where I'm like, I can't watch Coop anymore. Like, I can't. I'm like, we need to get Coop out of here. We need to get a real Big Ten center. And at every turn this past year and a half, have eaten shoes or any other inanimate objects around me, putting my foot in my mouth, because what this kid has become is absolutely special. This kid was a goalie IMG B team basketball player. I thought he should be following in my footsteps at Albion. And now he's a legit dog of a Big Ten center. It's absolutely crazy. He was special. And also, credit to Coop, when teams check you one-on-one in the post as a post player, it's technically disrespectful, right? They are saying that they don't think you are a threat to score whatsoever. And he took that personally in this basketball game, whether it was Jacobson leaning on him, spins, dunks it, or he's one-on-one with Clough, and you say, you know what, go score. Go score. Little hook shot, little fade to the middle, little jumper. How far he's come from when he first stepped on campus is absolutely incredible. It might be one of the greatest, honestly, developmental pieces that Tom Izzo's ever done. And I know he's done a lot of guys that have improved, like, the Tillmans of the world. A lot of guys have improved, but Carson Cooper was not on any radars anywhere as a serious Division I basketball player, a high major one at that. And he has become a legit, really good starting center in the Big Ten, which is insane.
I'm just trying to rack my brain here. I guess Kenny Goings, but and everyone knows where he came from. I was about to say, you got to remember where he came from, as if it hasn't been beaten into our skulls roughly 50 times this season. But he was playing with Anquan Bolden's kid, who was probably just doing it for fun at IMG's B team. And now here he is just putting a 7'4" guy on a poster in the first. God, that was sensational. Look, before we cut it to a break here, and I sorry if I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm going to ask your stat of the game. What's your favorite stat of the game? Don't know if you have a box score up, but I do have mine. And you said half of it early on, that Purdue only had, what was it? I believe it was 9 turnovers.
9 turnovers, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Carter, they had 19 points off of those turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
How is that even mathematically possible? You talk about getting the most out of your interceptions. It was pick 6 after pick 6 after pick 6. I mean, Lordy, G. Wilkers, dare I say, excuse my language, but that's where I point to. Just 19 points off turnovers. Can you expect that every game? No, but complete team performance and taking your opportunities when it presented itself and cashing in. God, I'm just so happy right now. This is the best.
This is great.
Like this.
I love being in this spot. I love being in this spot. Truthfully.
I love being us. It's great. Oh man. Do you have a favorite stat, or was that too on the spot for you? And I do apologize here. I mean,
no, you're good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at Michigan State's turnovers first. This is a team that, when you look at like Ken Pom statistically, they're honestly awful at taking care of the basketball. Really, truly are, and a lot of careless ones. And those are the ones you got to avoid in Mackey, because then the crowd gets into it. That's what you don't want to do. So yeah, I look at the turnovers first, but the points off turnovers definitely swung this one too for Michigan State.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big Six in 60. The Suns got a win over the Lakers last night thanks to a game-winning three from Royce O'Neal with less than a second to play. After the win, Ben Garcia has the recap on Locked On Suns.
The Suns beat the Lakers today. And it's a really, I do not like to speak in hyperbole. I do not like to be over exaggerated when I don't need to be. This is a big win for the Suns. This is a Lakers team who the Suns now hold the tiebreaker against. And the Suns are 2 games back from the Lakers now. And the Lakers, a team that I thought was not going to be very good in the preseason, now is sort of spiraling a little bit. And the Suns look to get Devin Booker back after he was supposed to be evaluated today. And we'll see how that goes. But what was your biggest takeaway from the game? I'll let you go first. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so they're actually 1 game back now. It's two in the loss column, I believe, but that was huge. Like you said, the tiebreaker situation, and really could be end up being like the win of the season that kind of hopefully sparks them to get back to the basketball team that we fell in love with, like originally, right? Like there is a lot of the last few games, Ben, I don't know about you, but I've been pulling my hair out just watching the offense, and it felt like it was going that way again. It was 66-53. Lakers were in control, leading by 13. The Suns were not scoring again. And it just felt like it was just a continuation of the last few games. And then a spark just flipped. Like they just turned it up real quick. And it just goes to show you that shooting is contagious.
Yeah.
And it starts with hustle. And that's what this team's identity is built on. So seeing them get those little scrappy, Jose Alvarado type steals from behind, but Booyah had one of them. There's, I know the Ryan Duncan transition was awesome. Just Grayson Allen pulling up, hitting threes. And then of course, death by Royce O'Neal is a brutal way to go out if you're a Lakers fan, but it was a fun game to watch, and great to see the Suns get back to the basics of what made them a great team early on.
No, I would agree with you with everything you just said. The biggest thing to me tonight was I had a take that feels wrong now in October, November, because the Suns, I felt like we're a smaller team, and that is true. And I downplayed the importance of Grayson Allen to this team because, and I don't feel like super bad about the take at the time. I had nearly a decade worth of data to know what Grayson Allen was, and he was having this superb season. And then I said, well, the emergence of Jamari Bouye now makes the Suns having 6 playable guards that they have. They should move Grayson Allen to go get a big in here because I think he has value. And in the offseason, the Suns were literally trying to trade him, but no one wanted to take that deal. The Suns would have taken pennies on the dollar just to get off of the contract. And now that we're in February and it's no longer early December, I'm like, okay, this is Grayson. He has just elevated his game. And I'm not scared to admit I was wrong, but I feel wrong here. He feels like the third best Sun this season. And at times, the best player on the floor. Not often, But at times, what's kind of your take on Grayson Allen and how he's elevated this season? And like to you, if you saw this coming either.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those players that it's easy to take him for granted, especially with how deep the Suns guard rotation is. And obviously now with Booker, Goodwin, and Brooks out, I know Brooks isn't technically a guard, but it shuffles the entire rotation. So I think him and Gillespie tonight were just the epitome of what this Suns team has been all season, right? Where they'll kind of catch you by surprise. They'll play at that edge. And Grayson's more than a shooter. That's something I think a lot of people kind of mistake with him. Like he can get downhill and he'll attack hard. That wraparound pass he had late in the game was incredible. Like just some of the plays he makes when he's in attack mode is huge. And honestly, I think he really has been that sort of unsung hero. And he's the type of player that every team wants. I'm glad they didn't trade him. I think I don't think your logic was wrong in terms of positional structure of the team. Like it made sense that there was going to be someone that was expendable. Why not try to get a power forward or a bigger forward by using Grayson as a trade bait? But yeah, I think he really is kind of stepped into a larger role this year that many of us didn't expect. With a healthy Jalen Green, Devin Booker, he kind of feels like the odd man out on paper.
Well, and before the season started, and like we'll talk more about Jalen Green later. I think people think I just want to dunk on Jalen Green every chance I get, when in reality, if he's the best version of himself, all of us are happier. The team is better. I make more money. More people tune into the show. Like that's what we would get if Jalen Green was the best version of himself. But I think it was very interesting that for the later part in the fourth quarter. And for those of you hearing my baby scream in the background, I apologize for that. New father. We're still trying to get it figured out, and that's okay. But for Grayson Allen, I think it's interesting that at the end of the game, the very last possession, they brought Jalen Green in. But to close out the game, there was no Jalen Green. And when the season started, it was Jalen Green's the second best player on this team. That was the notion thrown out there. Jordan Knott didn't even hesitate to put the ball in Grayson Allen's hand when the game was there to be won. And I think that says something now. And I do think a hierarchy in the Suns offense matters. Like people will tell me, why do you care who to say who's the second best player is? Because I think roles matter. Is this where we're at now? Is Grayson just the third best player on this team until further notice?
I think that there's a strong argument for that at this point. Then I think he's the third most important right now. Like when he's clicking, this team hits a gear that is just different. I think watching him and Kon Knueppel, especially the off-ball movement, when those two are running around in circles and just it looks like hell to guard both of them, like on the perimeter, because they're just relocating and just hitting Oso and then getting a quick cut back out to the three-point line and spotting up for a three, like stuff like that. The movement he brings and the edge, like that's one thing. Grayson's not afraid to mix it up. And I think defensively, like him and Gillespie, sure, they're undersized, but they're both feisty. But yeah, I think there's a stronger case for Grayson being the third best player right now than there is against him.
Well, it's just interesting because like I say all this stuff and Grayson was 9 for 24 tonight. He was 6 for 16 from 3.
Yeah.
But like, if we're going to do it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish with Jalen Green when he hit the game winner the other night against the Orlando Magic. And I do firmly believe in that. It felt like every big shot that was coming from this team was from those two guys, either Grayson Allen or Kon Knueppel. And it's like fourth quarter Kon Knueppel and Grayson Allen is just a thing now. And it's to the point where like, I know Royce O'Neal hit the game winner, but this team has become so good in the clutch. And it just feels like that's a culture thing now. Like they expect to be better. They expect to be better than the opposing team that has a Luka and a LeBron on the other side. I don't know. What's your take on that and the mentality that these guys have got tonight?
Yeah, like I said, they're just relentless. Like they could have easily folded when they're down 13 coming out of halftime flat again. And they kept fighting and shooting a lot of threes. Like they shot 50 threes tonight. The Lakers shot 29. So that is a massive gap and none bigger than the final one by Royce to decide things. So it was kind of fitting. It came on a 3, but yeah, I think it just speaks to this team's culture. Like just when, we were out, they pull us back in. That's just what this Suns team is. And it's been fun to watch. So I think there's always going to be slumps, especially shooting slumps in the season. It doesn't matter how good of a team you are. It's a lot easier to go in the slumps when your best two players are out. And that's the situation they're in now, which makes the Jalen Green situation, which we'll get to later, really murky and tough to like kind of dissect without them having all their guys, because everyone's in different roles right now. But they've been adapting all year on the fly, and it's been great.
The Hornets got a blowout win over the Pacers yesterday, and rookie Kon Knueppel hit 8 threes to break the rookie record for most in a season. Knueppel leads the league in threes, and Locked On Hornets hosts Walker Mell and Doug Branson have more on his big night.
You got the big dub hat. Let's talk about it. Hornets win. They beat the Pacers 133-109. It's their 9th straight road win. They're now 7-15 away. Once Atlanta wins their game against Washington, which is all but a foregone conclusion at this point, Charlotte will remain the 10 seed, just a half game back of the Hawks. Charlotte is 2 games back of Miami in the 8th spot. The Heat lost to Philly tonight. That means Charlotte is 4.5 back from the 76ers, a little bit of a catch-22 game there. We'll see what happens with Orlando. They're in a tight matchup with Houston in the 4th quarter. Down the stretch, we'll get clarity before the end of the pod. But Charlotte sweeps its 3-game road trip by a combined 73 points, thanks to the Pearl from Sam Purley, the man at Hornets.com. Hornets also set the record for most 3-pointers in a 3-game span with 72. That's right, they tie a record, but it's been absolutely bonkies what they've been doing. 25 threes against Washington, 25 threes the last time out, and then 22 threes here against Indiana. Okay, so we'll get to all the team stuff. We'll get to Brandon Miller going for a season-high 33. Yet, Brandon, I'm sorry, you're not the story. You were very good. You hit a bunch of shots. It was awesome to see, I think, what you did in the 3rd quarter. But Kon Knueppel breaks the rookie single-season record for made 3-pointers. He did it in 60 games. Keegan Murray had the record at 206. He's now 2nd. Not only did Kon pass him in this game, Kon continued to fill it up. He's now at 209. Who knows where he could go? Here's what's at play before I throw it back to you, Doug. Kon could reach 50, 40, 90. I care about this. I don't know if I told you that.
I know.
Right now, he's at 49, 44, 89. Those are the numbers after the Indiana game. He's 91 3-pointers away from 300 total threes in a season. Okay, 22 games left. He'd have to hit 4.2 a game the rest of the way to reach 300. If he does, then he'll be in rarefied air. That feat has only been reached 10 times. Steph did it 6 times. Crazy. James Harden, Ant Edwards, Malik Beasley, Klay Thompson, they're the only other members of that club. Going to be really tough, but it's in play in Kon's rookie season. Doug, we're at the point where the only shooter on the planet that I know is better than Kon Knueppel is Steph Curry. And after that, I got nothing for you. We're watching one of the best rookie seasons of all time, and now we have a big 3-point record to cement it.
The way this guy can just get on one of those in-the-zone, unconscious streaks in a game, like he did in the 1st quarter, when on the first 3 that he hit off a blob play, it stopped a Pacers 10-0 run. I mean, this is one of those crazy, dangerous Pacers games. They're already 0-2 on the season to the Pacers, but no Pascal Siakam, no Nesmith, just a bunch of C-teamers trying to make a statement against a team that they've already beaten twice. And the Hornets, once again, at this entire road trip, they start games like they've forgotten how to play basketball, and they did the same thing here. And Kon Knueppel says, enough is enough. I'm going to hit this 3. Then I'm going to hit another one. And then I'm going to hit another one. He hit back-to-back-to-back jacks in the 1st quarter to help the Hornets not get too far behind. And then not completely disappears, because he spends all that time refusing to be screened, hitting the floor for loose balls, and doing all kinds of other little things that help the Hornets generate offense and get into transition. But then he waits to the end of the 2nd quarter to tie the rookie record, 45 seconds left, and then waits a little while longer to break it. But he can sit back, he can do his thing, he can stand in the corner, he can use his gravity to help create for others, and then all of a sudden explode. And he's a special, special player. After the game, asked about the rookie record. This is my favorite part. because he's been asked about it multiple times. He was asked about it at the All-Star break. Shannon Spake has been trying to drag a comment out of him, doing the best she could
Good work,
to get
Shannon.
one single thing from him on this record. And the most hilarious thing is he pretended like it didn't exist. He pretended like he didn't know. He's like, record numbers? What? I shoot three-pointers? I don't know about that. I'm a basketball player? Like, he completely just was not even wanting to recognize it. And then finally he does. And what's the first thing he says? Credit to my teammates. They set me up. He is all gas, no ego. He gets a Gatorade and water bath from his teammates who all love him. It's just a beautiful thing. Honestly, I feel like I'm dreaming. I can't believe that this is what the Hornets, this is the guy the Hornets drafted. I mean, just all of the draft trauma that we've been through, that Kon would fall in their laps at 4 like this and that they would take advantage of it. It's amazing.
Which, by the way, in the interview, when he got all the water dumped on him, he said, yeah, this sucks.
This sucks.
And then, I don't want any of this water done. This sucks. I don't want this to happen to me. Here's my question about Kon, who is going absolutely bonkers. He's averaging close to 20 points per game on 49, 44, 89 shooting right now. He appeared in the three-point contest. He might make 300 threes. He's already set the rookie single-season three-point makes record, and he did it in 60 games. Okay, here's my question. If I told you before the draft that Kon Knueppel's best statistical season would be one that looks like this, you didn't know when it was going to come, but the only thing you knew is that there would be a season for Kon in his career that looks exactly like this statistical season, and it's his best. It's his best statistical season. Do you still draft him at 4 overall? You don't know it's going to be the rookie season. I just tell you that this statistical season is going to be the best one that he ever posts. Are you still drafting Kon Knueppel 4th overall if you know that before you select him?
That's a really interesting question because it is, I mean, the numbers are crazy, but I look beyond the numbers and I still like there's still growth that I think Kon is capable of in terms of becoming his own scorer that can set himself up, in terms of becoming his own playmaker that can set others up. He's already doing a lot of that, but I still think there's room to grow. This is the crazy part to me, is that I think he can still become a better on-ball scorer from 3. Like he does so much, and he did in this game, did so much great work off the ball, coming to the ball, curling off of screens, and then the speed at which he can get off of a screen or a DHO, grab the ball, get up into a shooting motion and fire is incredible, but yet he still has room to grow there. So if that was his best season, see, this is the unfairness of the question.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's totally true. It's not a fair question.
And particularly on this night, I just feel like there's so much more. I want more. I'm a greedy sicko. I want more now. And so if you told me this was the best, I don't know. I want more.
Well, I mean, I think, but in this scenario, you wouldn't have not already seen all that Kon had to offer, that this was the first year. I think when you see this stat in this alternate universe, when you see this basketball reference page, you don't think it's going to be his first season. You think, oh, well, he won't reach this until he gets to year 4. And then maybe he's flirting with an all-star appearance, but you're not going to see it his first year. So at that point, I think there's a real shot that you still would have taken him 4th overall with Ace Bailey and Trey Johnson still on the table. And by the way, Ace Bailey doing some nice things over there in Utah. I like what I see for the most part. I really like Trey Johnson. You and I were both fans. But what Kon is doing right now, regardless of, I don't know how much the answer is really all that important, to be honest with you. It's the fact that we can ask it. It's the fact that it's his rookie season, and we can ask this, and we could say maybe if this was his best season, or just maybe if it was, you'd still take him right there at that spot in what is still wildly a deep draft class. The fact that he's even shooting 50% on 2s, which is huge, man. I saw somebody when I put up the tweet that I want 50, 40, 90 so bad, I did have somebody respond to me saying, look, he did the numbers are arbitrary argument thing with me, which I understand. I get it. We put emphasis on the nice round numbers that are 50, 40, 90. We do not have a club that flows off of the tongue. 49, 44, 89 doesn't flow as easily as 50, 40, 90. So I totally get that the numbers are arbitrary. And he said, you put on 57% from two, only Steph has reached these types of marks before. Like, that's the type of category that you're in. It's only with Steph. And so with that being said, I think you still might do it, but either way, you're right. The important thing is this is the base. This is the launching pad for Kon. And I'm not sure if this is going to be the best season, the best shot that he ever has at 50% overall from the field, because the volume is going to go up. It might be a lot harder to pass that threshold. I don't know what's going to play out, but that's the fact that this could be, it's his rookie season. It's usually a launching pad for great careers, for great players. And the fact that he's doing this in his first season, it is kind of wild. And I don't know how big the jump's going to be, but you're right. It does feel like there's a lot more on the table for Kon.
They are nice round numbers, but they're also very difficult numbers to achieve all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Only 15 players in NBA history have achieved those nice round numbers, and a rookie has never done it.
So it's 9 players. It's happened 15 times,
right?
I'm sorry,
15 times.
No. But yeah, he would be the 10th, and it would be the 16th time that it's ever happened.
15 players within the time and space in which they existed.
Fair enough. That number works. Okay. That's a nice round number, 15. Let's just stick with that one.
Nice round metaphysics. So yes, I mean, it would be incredibly impressive for him to do it. But here's the thing, like, if he does fall short, going back to what I was talking about in the first segment, the way he reacted to the lead up to this record and then reacted after the record, I think he has a level of humility and yet focus and yet confidence and yet all of these things that make me think this is not a flash in the pan. I don't know yet if he's going to be the best player out of this draft. I don't know if this is going to be a Carmelo LeBron situation where LeBron wins Rookie of the Year, but Carmelo should have won Rookie of the Year. Obviously, LeBron is in the GOAT conversation. Carmelo Anthony not in the GOAT conversation. I don't know if that's what we're going to be facing here with Kon Knueppel and his teammate at Duke, Cooper Flagg. I mean, VJ Edgecombe has looked really, really good in Philadelphia, and unlike Kon, he has been buried by superstar level play from Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And so, Dylan Harper has some things to say. I don't know. And also there's a rookie class coming in. It's going to be like one of the best rookie classes ever. So like there is so much to be written. But man, I mean, how can you not come away from the Kon Knueppel experience and go, whatever happens, that guy's going to be, I'm confident now, perennial all-star. Like, I'm just going to say perennial all-star. I don't know if he's going to be the best player from this draft class, but I'm confident, more confident than any other player on this team, including Brandon Miller, including LaMelo Ball, that this guy can string together 4 or 5 or 6 all-star seasons together.
Yeah, and not to focus on the one thing constantly like I do with the statistical achievements, but it's just insane that here he is already doing so at such an efficient level. A couple things before we move on to the last segment. So many people, I don't want to say so many, but there have been people that brought up the LeBron Carmelo thing. And one, I want to say it feels like people, I didn't realize like that this was some kind of piece of lore in NBA history that Carmelo got robbed. Like I don't remember that being the case. I don't know, man. LeBron was awesome his rookie season. I think we just chill on that.
You don't remember it precisely because of the reason that LeBron won it, because we were all in the hype NATO of the witnessing the king arising and LeBron and everything. Like I just think we were all in it. But if you look at the numbers, I don't personally remember having the conversation, but if you look back at the numbers, there's a solid argument that Carmelo had the better rookie season.
Well, yes, there's a difference between that's fair. There's a difference between there being a solid argument and Carmelo got robbed. Like Carmelo did not get robbed. LeBron was clearly just as worthy as Carmelo, but it was 50-50. Here's the thing, like for Kon, if we just want to dive into the Rookie of the Year conversation, man, go ahead. Give it to Cooper with all of this stuff that Kon is doing. Like, you can say, oh, well, it's just the 3-point shooting. No, it's not. No, it's not. And the people who might even just say that, they're going to know it. Go ahead. I'll say it again, Doug. If they look at this stat, okay, if they look at all of the stats that Kon is putting up and they watch the game and they still want to say that Cooper is Rookie of the Year, it means Kon Knueppel never had a shot. On a winning team where they are winning because of him, it quite literally means Kon Knueppel never had a single shot in hell to win Rookie of the Year if he doesn't win it with everything he's doing right now.
Well, so this, to me, the scenario where Cooper wins is that he does come back from this foot sprain and puts up the numbers that he was putting up going into that injury, which were dominant, which were like just better numbers than what Kon is even capable of putting up, because Kon is on a better team and the Hornets are a better team, not only because they have more talent, but because they're sharing the basketball. And part of the reason they can share the basketball is because Kon Knueppel exists, because he's a player that makes other players better. Okay, that's a very nuanced argument that you and I can understand, can internalize. Right. The sickos that are listening right now, they can understand and internalize because they watch it every night. Voters are not going to care about that. They're going to go to They're going to go to Basketball Reference. They're going to see. They're going to remember the near 50-point games that Cooper was putting up, and that's what they're going to vote for. Now, the scenario where Kon wins is that he has done these records, and the Mavericks are very careful with Cooper Flagg in this injury. They don't want to risk it, and maybe he doesn't come back very quickly, and there's a games played issue. You know, I think Kon is starting to creep into that, but you look at the betting lines right now, and everything is still in favor of Cooper Flagg, because if he comes back and he's averaging, 27, 28 points a game, like, it's going to be very difficult for those casual voters that aren't watching the Hornets very closely to put Kon up.
Yeah.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big 6 in 60. The Colts and Anthony Richardson never really worked out, and now the team and quarterback have agreed to try and find a trade out of Indianapolis. To look at the possible destinations, here's Jake Arthur and Zach Hicks with Locked On Colts.
Anthony Richardson requesting the trade, and Colts actively looking to trade him now. You have it in here that he's only been available for 29 of 51 games in his career, which is only 56.9%. Next season, he is due $10.8 million, and there's also that fifth-year option of 23.5 for the acquiring team. So a team would effectively be acquiring him for a year plus of control. Like, you could technically have 2 years of control by getting him, but you at least get 1 year of control. And a young quarterback who's a former top 5 pick, who just doesn't have a lot of film out there on him right now. So there is some intrigue for a trade, but overall, just what are your thoughts on this new development? And again, I know it's something we've talked about a lot on here recently, but it's a new development, I guess, in terms of like official news coming out.
Yeah, it was not realistic for this relationship to continue. The Colts have very clearly committed to Daniel Jones for the long term. Chris Ballard said he hopes that he's the short term and long term answer. They're going to be they're working actively right now. They're meeting with Jones representatives on a multi-year deal. Now, they are also meeting with Anthony Richardson's representative, Derek Jackson. I believe, it's been reported they met this morning, Colts brass and Derek Jackson did. And that's how they came together for, it would be most mutually beneficial just to allow Jackson to seek out a trade for Anthony. And it is time. The injuries, we can even pin it. We can blame a million things, but let's blame the injuries. Again, like you said, over 50% of the time, Anthony's not been available to play. And that in itself, through 3 years, he's had issues with injuries all 3 years. That just, you can't have that sort of mystery about your quarterback after 3 years.
Yeah.
Even if he was the starter last year, even if he was going into this next year as the presumed starter, you can't have that sort of mystery about your quarterback. You have to know by now. And again, they're playing for wins now. Like this stopped being about his development long ago. So they need to win. It's good to get this just cloud, I think, out of the building. There's this I don't think is going to have animosity on either side, but if you're Anthony, you want more of a chance to play. You're probably looking for a fresh start somewhere else without the baggage that has come with this whole situation. If you're the Colts, you'd probably love the distraction of this to go away. We have to ask about it all the time. It's just best for both parties to go. And, I think it's pretty possible because for a former top 5 pick who's only in his 4th year, he's still 23. He's going to turn 24 in May. To only cost $10 million as a quarterback is pretty nice. That's a nice chunk of change. 5th-year option is probably not going to happen because teams need to declare that by May. And that's going to be if he gets traded before then, it's going to be too soon for a team to pick that up unless they have been super duper sold on him for years, which even the injuries to me is enough not to do it. But yeah, it was appropriate for this to finally happen. For Richardson, he can go somewhere and have a better chance of furthering his career. For the Colts, you got to trade him. Do not cut. Trade him so you can get something back. We've talked about compensation. It's, a day 3 pick most likely. Could be 2027 where it's an escalating pick. We don't know, but it's time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll see more about this in the coming days and what it really transpires. And we'll talk about more in segment 2 about potential fits and compensation coming back. But one thing I wanted to ask you and pick your brain about a little bit is the timing of this, right? It's kind of interesting for this to come out before Daniel Jones is under contract, right? I guess we can say that about so much this offseason with Daniel Jones, right? Is pushing all this like that he's a franchise quarterback and verbally committing to him to everybody before he's actually under contract. But it is kind of weird, the timing of this, where it's like, it's coming out, Thursday morning here. And technically Daniel Jones is set to become a free agent in a couple weeks. So as of right now, the Colts don't have their quarterback 1 is not under contract, and their quarterback 2, they're mutually seeking a trade with him.
I think you mean quarterback 1 is Riley Leonard, who is under contract.
Okay.
No, but it's just yet another layer of them assuredly being confident in Jones as their quarterback. Like that they're going to get a deal done, number one, but the confidence in him to show that he's the guy from the first half of the season. I asked Shane the other day, I was like, are you confident about this offense given, he's going to take a step back in his mobility. Like it's unrealistic to expect him to have the same mobility he did before the injury, at least right now. Like he may get back to it, but like, are you going to be able to run an offense that's tailored around a guy who took a step back, coming back from an Achilles, and they're confident in it. So that's just been the whole thing. Everybody's jobs hinges on this quarterback who has missed about as much time as Anthony, to be quite frank with you, and is coming off a major injury.
Yeah, no, for sure. And kind of desperate times, I guess, with the Colts, but ultimately getting back to Anthony Richardson, it just is time for this move, right? There's been writing on the wall. Shane Steichen has benched him already at this point in his career in the NFL. He benched him not only mid-season in 2024, but also gave the starting job to a different quarterback they brought in from the outside. So there is no future for Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. It makes the most sense to get this deal done. I think the big question is just how long does this take? Is this going to be something that is done in August when teams are most desperate, but you don't want Richardson hanging around here, right? When we already have this verbal agreement. So could this be something that we see it done as early as by the weekend? I think that's on the table. We could see something like some movement really happen here, I think, in the next couple weeks. And I would be shocked if he's still a member of the Indianapolis Colts by the NFL draft. But Jake, what's your thoughts on that?
I think the fact the combine is right now is a big factor in all of this. The entire NFL world is here. Everyone's representation is here. from the team side, from agent sides, everywhere. Like, there doesn't need to be any like, let's meet here in a couple weeks. Like, everybody's already in the same place.
Yeah.
So that's a big factor. We saw already earlier today, the Titans and the Jets nailed out a trade. You know why? It makes it a lot easier when everyone's in the same place. So whether a trade gets done or not this week, I don't know. It does seem a little fast, but I think the major legwork and the foundation for a trade could certainly be laid this week. We now know that Jackson's been given permission to seek this out. So I'm sure he's been making calls all afternoon or all day at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's been meeting with teams probably other than the Colts at this point as well. We're going to start getting that list of teams where not only that Richardson wants to go to, but teams that are just willing to make an offer for Richardson. Because like going back to what you said earlier in the segment, cutting is not going to happen. A team is going to trade for Anthony Richardson. It's just the nature of this business.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big Six in 60. The Titans and Jets made a trade this week that sends Devondre Sweat to New York. After the move, Locked On Jets host John Butchko looks at what Sweat will bring to the Big Apple.
I'm going to begin by telling you why I think this move was the correct one for the Jets. And it brings me no joy to say that because I really liked Jermaine Johnson. And I think that there's a lot of sadness in the Jets fan base today because the team traded Jermaine. And that's natural. Jermaine Johnson's the type of player a fan comes to love. A guy you drafted in the first round, a guy who had some degree of success with your team, a guy who's been nothing but a class act. You know, people have nothing but good things to say about him in the locker room. And he's expressed that he wanted to spend his career in New York with the Jets. This is the kind of guy you hope it works out for. And when it doesn't work out, and when your team trades a guy like this, it stinks. It's not a happy day. Even if you think the move was a correct one, I think that you likely were a little bit sad yesterday. When I look at this, and I'm going to give you my perspective, I think many of you will feel the same way as I do. Sometimes you just want a player to be successful, and you wish that he was better than he really is, and you just talk yourself into the idea that the player is better than he really is. And I think that's what happened with a lot of us, and I'm including myself here. I mean, I'm as guilty of this as anybody. So this is, again, really about me. I wanted Jermaine Johnson to be a star. And I think that that led me to maybe inflate some of his accomplishments and overlook some of his shortcomings. Ultimately, if you look at his Jets career, there were good moments. There's no question about that. That 2023 season was a really solid year. You know, he made the Pro Bowl. I don't quite know that he played at a Pro Bowl level that year, but it was a good season. I don't think anybody can take that year away from Jermaine. However, you look at the entirety of the body of work. He plays defensive end, which is a pass rushing position. And in 47 career games, he has 13 sacks. An NFL season is 17 games. So that gives Jermaine 4.7 sacks for every 17 games he played. You know, that's less than 5 sacks per season. That's the rate he was playing at. Now, I think if you break down his career by season, his rookie year wasn't bad. He was kind of the Jets' number 3 defensive end. He flashed, showed some good moments. The second year was good. Second year was really good. He, had 7.5 sacks, which was a career high. He made that Pro Bowl team, even though I'm not quite sure he belonged there. Played really good run defense. The third season was a lost year. He suffered the Achilles injury week 2, ironically, against the Tennessee Titans. And that may have altered his career because he came back in 2025 and the results just weren't there. I think a lot of the explosiveness was gone. Now, he was in a Jets infrastructure that was broken in many ways. I think that his play was better in the early part of the season than it was late in the year when things just fell apart for the Jets after they traded Quinn and Williams, after a lot of things went wrong with this team. But ultimately, he did not look like an impact player. And when you zoom out and you look at this, when you're 4 years into a player's career, no matter the circumstances, regardless of injury, when the one shining season a guy has, the season that's far and away his best was one where he posted 7.5 sacks. Well, that's a sign you don't really have a star on your hands. I mean, that was that in that season. I think Jermaine played at the level of an above average starter at defensive end. And if he's able to sustain that level through his career, then you've got a good pick. And he was a guy who was worth picking in the first round, trading up for in the first round in 2022. But I think you also have to look at the odds. Nobody can say for sure what Jermaine's career trajectory is going to be going forward. But an Achilles injury is a serious one for a defensive end, because that's a position where explosiveness matters. There are certain positions where you don't have to be explosive. You have to be explosive at defensive end. And Jermaine relied on his athleticism. Jermaine was a well-rounded guy. I don't think there was anything he did spectacularly. I don't know that there was anything he did poorly, though, at least pre-injury. And I think you have to worry, especially based on what you saw in 2025, that the injury he suffered potentially was a career-altering injury. Again, you can never say anything with 100% certainty, but you also have to consider what the Jets have invested in him. He was due to make $13.4 million this year. Now, if Jermaine was making $2, $3, $4, $5 million, would you say he's worth keeping a look at? Would you say, we'll roll the dice, maybe he can find his form? Sure. Is that a bet I'd like to make at $13.4 million? Probably not. And beyond that, if he has a good season this year, well, that's 2 good seasons out of 5. Again, I'm not saying that it's all his fault. Obviously, the year he got injured, it wasn't his fault. How much are you going to want to invest in a free agent who's had 2 good seasons out of 5, and one who's on the older side to begin with hitting free agency, because he'll be 28 beginning his second contract? I think that that's a difficult thing to roll the dice on. Now, from a Titans perspective, I can understand why you'd make the trade. He's got those ties with Robert Saleh. He knows he's clearly a good fit in the Tennessee system. I'm not saying I hate this deal from a Tennessee perspective. I'm not saying I hate rolling the dice on Jermaine if I'm the Tennessee Titans. But from the Jets' perspective, I don't think this was a good fit. I think that the Jets were probably best moving on, gaining the cap space, and then also gaining a guy who's going to be a good rotational defensive tackle, T'Vondre Sweat. I don't want to make him out to be a superstar in waiting, because he's not. He's a guy who's probably going to play on early downs. I think he'll probably start off as your number 3 defensive tackle behind Harrison Phillips and Juwan Briggs. And first and second down, Phillips needs a rest, Sweat goes in. Briggs needs a rest, Sweat goes in. I think that that's what he'll be. But he's a guy who can play the run at a high level. He's a guy who can eat up blocks at the nose tackle position. And I think to get him for Jermaine Johnson, when Jermaine just doesn't seem like a great bet, and I'd love to be wrong about this. I mean, I'll be happy if Jermaine goes to Tennessee and ends up having success. But me wanting Jermaine to be successful doesn't mean he's going to be successful. And I think Jets fans wanting to believe Jermaine's a star doesn't make Jermaine a star. I think sometimes you have to look objectively and realize what someone is. And Jermaine Johnson's a guy who has been an above average starter 1 year out of 4 in his career and is trying to recover from an injury that has plagued many a career at the position he plays, has plagued many a career at the style he plays. I don't think at $13.4 million that the Jets would be well advised to keep rolling with him when you can send him to Tennessee, get the cap space, and get a player like Sweat. So I say this reluctantly. I don't say this with any joy, but I do think the Jets made the correct decision moving on from Jermaine Johnson and making this trade. I'm a big believer in keeping your homegrown talent, but I think you also have to look at what your homegrown talent is in an objective way. And I think objectively, the Jets made the right decision. I think the Jets put themselves on more stable footing for the future making this trade.
Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Not only can your pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Big 6 in 60. In the deal with the Jets, the Titans got Jermaine Jackson back as part of the return for T'Vondre Sweat. And Locked On Titans host Tyler Rowland loves the fit in Tennessee.
Jermaine Johnson is an absolute physical specimen. He is a freak of nature from a physical stature standpoint. This guy is 6'5", 265 pounds, 34-inch arms. It's a little bit longer than 34. I mean, this dude is a prototypical edge rusher built in a laboratory. He is an absolute specimen, okay? And he combines that prototypical size, that prototypical length as well with just a relentless attitude out on the field. This guy's motor is always running non-stop. He never gives up on plays. He's always going 110% at all times, and that is exactly the type of player that the Tennessee Titans want in their defense. The Titans want guys who aren't just, the physical model of what you want, but who also have the mentality that you want out on the field. And Jermaine Johnson checks both of those boxes from a physical standpoint, from a mentality standpoint. He is I'm going to say this word a lot, a physical edge setter. Let's call it what it is. Jermaine Johnson is a better run defender right now than he is a pass rusher. Okay, he's a guy who's going to set an edge, set that wall in the run game, force the runner back inside to his help, which is exactly what you want to do. I bring this up all the time because it's one of the best football phrases that I've ever heard, and it came from Mike Vrabel. Edge, wall, swarm. That's how you play run defense. You set the edge, which turns the runner back inside. You create a wall by staying in your gaps and being assignment sound, and then you swarm to the ball carrier as a defense. That's what you do. And for a Tennessee Titans team that wants to have big, physical edge rushers that are able to do that, think about Femi Oladejo, 6'3", 260 pounds, super long arms. He is a guy who is going to be able to do that. And now you can have Jermaine Johnson on the other side who's going to do that as well. And again, a guy with a great mentality whose motor is always running hot is going to run down ball carriers. He's going to forklift offensive linemen and tight ends to make sure that he handles his assignment. He is an absolute specimen in that regard. Now, as a pass rusher, he is not a bad pass rusher, but, that's not maybe as elevated as maybe his run defense. But in pass rush, he is quite the technician for being a guy that size. Speed to power is his game. He wants to fly off the line of scrimmage. He wants to use his long arms and his strength and power to get in your chest and drive you back into the quarterback. He's got a good, nice long arm stab where he's able to use that length, get into your chest, and he has shown a little bit of a spin counter where he's able to spin back inside. He'll even try a little bit of an outside spin move from time to time as well. Now, outside of that, would I say that he's incredibly polished with, a cross chop or a rip? And does he have great bend and all of that? Not quite. And we'll talk about all of that stuff here in just a moment where we talk about the reality that he is not your alpha dominant edge rusher, the edge one that the Tennessee Titans need. But again, the speed to power, being able to drive an offensive lineman back into a quarterback's lap, having a little bit of a long-arm stab to utilize his length in a proper way, having somewhat of a counter when it comes to the spin move. You got to make sure that you have that counter, especially you're flying off the football with good explosion and good get-off. You're getting upfield. You're using your speed to power. Offensive linemen are going to start to adjust to that. They're going to start to try to kick out a little bit wider. And the moment that you kick out a little bit wider to deal with my speed, boom, I hit you with the inside spin counter and you don't even know what's coming. Quite frankly, I would say Jermaine Johnson is very similar to a guy like David Bailey, Both 6'4", 6'5", really long arms, speed to power, good get off the line of scrimmage, spin back inside, use your big, thick, strong arms as a barrier to hold the offensive lineman inside during your spin move. I think there's a lot of comparisons there to what David Bailey's going to bring to the table and what Jermaine Johnson is able to bring to the table. And we talk about all this physical stuff. We talk about the frame at 6'5", 260, the 34-inch arms, the relentless personality, the great motor, and some of the aspects of his pass rush that do get you excited. But then you add in the personality. And the personality stuff is as impressive, quite honestly, as the physical stuff. Just in my short time researching Jermaine Johnson, to hear the way that Robert Saleh spoke about him, to hear the way that media people who cover the New York Jets talk about him, this is a guy who has elite football character, takes accountability, is a relentless worker, wants to improve at his craft nonstop at every step of the way. He is an incredible teammate as well in the locker room for the New York Jets. And my guy John Butchko from Locked On Jets is going to come on the show a little bit later at the end and talk about his experience with Jermaine Johnson and how he viewed this trade from both different sides. But not only John Butchko from Locked On Jets, but again, other media members who have covered the Jets. I've talked to one in specific. We've heard interviews with others since the trade has happened, but Jermaine Johnson was beloved in that locker room. Because when the season was going bad for the Jets, Johnson was the first guy that would say, we're not playing well enough. I'm not playing well enough. That sort of accountability, that sort of maturity, that sort of self-reflection, self-awareness, and intelligence, that is a perfect fit for the Tennessee Titans culture. That is literally exactly what the Tennessee Titans need to start building that locker room back to where it needs to be, is a guy who acts like that and will be a thumb pointer, not a finger pointer. And that is critical in team sports. So you add in the prototypical size, the relentless play style, the ability in the pass rush, and the technicalities that he has. And then you add in the personality. Again, is Jermaine Johnson the elite alpha edge rusher for the Tennessee Titans going forward? No, he isn't that. But what he is a perfect fit for what the Tennessee Titans need right now as they start to build their culture back and start to build their roster back. And he is a perfect fit as a 4-3 defensive end in Robert Saleh's system, which is ultimately what led to this move happening. Is this guy fits great in the scheme, he fits great in the locker room, and the guy that we got rid of does not fit in the scheme and does not fit in the locker room. And that's what truly matters. So a physical freak who is a perfect fit in the building. That's what you're getting in Jermaine Johnson.
That's all for today's Big 6 in 60. If you follow basketball, football, or college sports, the Big 3 in 30 has a half hour on the biggest news in the NFL, the NBA, and on campus, going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NBA, the Big 3 in 30 NFL, or the Big 3 in 30 college, wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 6 in 60.